Welcome, everyone, on this fine Mother's Day to ZeroCool's Hard Drive. We're here again with you. This is Houseman. With me, as always, we have Berg and a man who wishes he could buy 1,507 pairs of shoes in one day, Mr. Dunkel. How's it going today, guys?
One day.
All in one day, though.
Yeah. All in one day, absolutely.
1,507. So you're going to have like one pair of shoes that isn't a pair of shoes.
That's only trying on a pair of shoes, number, I was going to say 20 times per hour, 30, I don't know, math. Math times per hour.
If we're lucky enough, one day we'll have a subscribe button, and our fellow followers can assist me in that endeavor, I guess.
Yeah. There you go. You hear that?
Yeah,
Dunkel needs a new pair of shoes, guys.
Dunkel needs 1,507 pairs of shoes.
Go ahead, Case, or Houseman.
So today we take it all the way back to 2001. With the movie Evolution, and we got Dunkel here to spit some facts out of you about that movie.
Yeah, so like Houseman mentioned, it's a 2001 movie. It's a sci-fi comedy directed by Ivan Reitman. He was actually not the original director for the movie, and it was going to be a very serious movie to begin with. And then he took over, which those who don't know, he actually directed Ghostbusters. And that's when it turned into a comedic movie more than just a dark sci-fi movie.
Yeah, I read that too.
Which I thought was pretty intriguing.
I think it would have been done better as a dark sci-fi movie, to be honest with you.
So the interesting part, I really got into it as far as the filming perspective of it. It was filmed in Page, Arizona. And the studio, it was around Christmas time. They asked the city to delay hanging up Christmas lights while they were filming the movie so they could make it so obviously it's not Christmas time. And then they paid for the lighting of their Christmas lights after the movie was done.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. The original people they wanted to cast for the movie for the role of Ira was actually Will Smith, John Cusack, and Leonardo DiCaprio, which they all declined.
I feel like in 2001 you probably could have got Will Smith, but Leonardo DiCaprio.
This makes me wonder, did they decline the original dark sci-fi script, or was it the later comedy script?
Yeah, I could see Leonardo for the darker script. I've never really seen, other than Wolf on Wall Street, I never really saw him as the comedic type.
Well, 2001 would have been what Will Smith would have been doing Men in Black, so it would have been a lot similar to that.
Maybe, yeah.
I could easily see Cusack kind of playing that, somewhat goofball. I could see him in that role.
And then the role of Allison, they also wanted to cast Jennifer Aniston. She considered the role and then declined it. As we get into the movie, Play That Funky Music White Boy scene is inspired by Orlando Jones. He would play that song rolling up to set every day. So we'll get into that later on as we go.
Yeah.
And then, short answer. Yeah, that's kind of what I got for facts. I failed to pull up the money. I think they was an $80 million movie, and they made $93 million, so they did fairly well.
Yeah, I think it was 98. I saw a lot of I saw a lot of the reviews and stuff. Because it was Ivan, what's his name for the director. They compared it to Ghostbusters, so it actually didn't do that great, ratings wise.
Mm-hmm. Well, then
because they were comparing it to Ghostbusters. That's why I said I think it would do better as it could have been really good as a sci-fi horror. I think.
Yeah. Which kind of leads into the Dan Akroyd being in it as the mayor was he a mayor or a governor? Governor.
He was the governor of Arizona.
Yeah. And then for the year, I kind of want to jump into the tech facts for 2001. So a lot of things kind of started up that time of year. Wikipedia launched on January 15th. October 23rd, Apple introduced its first iPod. November 15th, Microsoft launched the Xbox.
Ooh, dang, that was that long ago.
Yeah, and George W. Bush was inaugurated as the 43rd president of the United States.
Making a guy feel old here.
Shrek was released, as well as Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone premiered in theaters.
I thought that was interesting because this movie was also produced by DreamWorks, which I didn't realize until I actually watched the movie. I would have never even have guessed that was DreamWorks.
No, because back then, I suppose they did some. Gosh, I think didn't DreamWorks do Saving Private Ryan? Probably don't want to dive down that rabbit hole too much, but
no, I'm not sure exactly what all the movies. I was just surprised that they did this one. I was like, whoa! I was like, yeah, that's Shrek and that stuff. Then
I think they were kind of all over the board back then, and then they
definitely took a niche after that.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, they found their calling, and I think just kind of shifted towards that.
Yeah, so those are kind of your facts for 2001. Obviously, avoiding the obvious one of the year, but so we'll kind of jump into the movie. And Berg, you want to kick off?
Sure. Yeah, we start out the movie with Sean William Scott's character. I can't honestly remember the guy's name, the actual character name.
Oh my gosh,
Stifler, I guess.
I couldn't even remember the actor's name. Yeah,
he played basically almost the same character as Stifler, I feel like. Pretending to save a mannequin from a burning building, which he had a huge tank of gas, and it makes you think that he dumped that whole thing into this house.
Mm-hmm.
There was definitely not gas, because it would have exploded that little house.
Right.
like the flame kind of just shot up like really slow, so I was like, that's not gas at all.
Mm-hmm.
But then also I had a note, why was there just a little house in the middle of the desert? I know it was like a mining area, but like,
Yeah.
he's just burning down a house in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It was a mine shack,
like a little
wasn't
shack,
it?
huh?
Because there was like a cave system right there, so wasn't it like a mine, like an old mining shelter or something?
I would think it's probably
Maybe.
one of those, but you can just go out and burn those down to the ground.
Well, I mean, obviously he was out there in the middle of the night, so maybe not kosher. You know,
He was
what I mean?
practicing on his own for his firefighter training.
Right, and then we get the meteor coming down and blowing up his car, which I wish I wrote down, because it's the same kind of joke that was Employee of the Month, where it was like, it's an '89 Honda, because he says that to the cop, and I think he calls it like a '78 Riv or something like that. Yes, that's what it was. That's a classic car. It's a '74 Buick Riv, and I was like, oh my gosh.
I have to make a note though: the meteor hitting the car, fantastic practical effects. It's just something you don't see these days.
And where it launches it up in the air, destroys
I
the
miss
car
those old
completely.
explosions. Let's actually blow up a car. Why not?
Yep.
Just had to make a
Very
note
good.
of that.
Yeah. After that it goes into you meet the two main characters, Ira and Orlando Jones's character.
Harry.
Ira
Ira
and
and
Harry. You find out basically Ira doesn't give a crap about the class at the community college. Everyone's just gonna get A's. Yeah.
Except for the two guys that are just like, they're in a biology class and they're talking about cells, but they're talking about prison cells. And he's just like,
yeah. It was like 2 sentences long.
Unfortunately, I committed this to memory.
Yep.
Cells are bad.
Cells are
My
bad.
uncle's in a cell.
Right. Just the shortest little answers. Like, we still gave him a C-. So I
Yeah,
still gave him a passing grade.
as much as my standards have dropped over the years, I could not bring it in my heart to give you an A.
Right. But then you meet Harry, who sets the tone of the sexual innuendos like almost right away, like that early 2000s toilet humor. Everything is sexual type of thing that was back then, like American Pie and Van Wilder and all of those shows all did the same kind of thing, and this one definitely did too. Like, it was chock full of it. Like,
they jumped deep into it too.
Yeah, it's
I made a note
PG-13,
of
but
that.
it's like rated R, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that humor was like just laced throughout this whole movie.
Yeah. The only reason
left and
I
right.
would guess that it didn't get rated R is because there really isn't much swearing. Only a couple
No,
swear
there really
words I
wasn't.
think I really clocked that they actually like said. It's like most
No,
of it
and you
was-
don't really see anything even from like a sexual standpoint either. It's just like the random jokes just all the time.
the jokes all throughout it. Yeah.
I mean, it was certainly raunchy enough that as I was watching the movie, I'm like, I probably wouldn't bring my son here to watch it with me, but
Yeah, they definitely need more of an understanding of the world, that like the birds and the bees talk at 16 to watch this movie, probably.
yeah. Well, especially when they're talking about Dr. Reed on the microphone, but we'll get to that.
Right. Then Harry is on a phone call right before you like learn who he is, which I made a note of, because so he gets a phone call about a meteor hitting, and they tell him to go look at it. So who calls him? Because the police don't know who he is, and he says it's like the Geological Society. But who called the Geological Society?
Well, wasn't it like because there's like some seismology meters around there, seismometers around there?
I don't know. They don't really
something?
say anything about it. He just takes a phone call and he's like, I gotta go check out this meteor.
Yeah, and they get there and there's just a bunch of cops sitting there taking selfies with it.
Yeah, touching it and stuff.
It's leaning. Hot, you lean on it. I'll take a photo.
Yeah, when they show up to the site, did you realize that they were dressed like the Men in Black? They both had dark sunglasses, all black coats on, black clothes, like completely like dressed up like the Men in Black. And he like flashes them. I don't even think it's a badge. Because he like opens his billfold and he's like U.S. Geological
It's probably just
Society
some certificate
or
printed out or something. I figured they're just like, oh, okay, science stuff.
Is the one guy the cop? Is he the one from the Scream movies that plays like Doofy?
No, that's completely different. He did look familiar, but I guess I never looked him up. It wasn't that guy. It wasn't that same guy though.
That was immediately what struck me too. Is like I know like this guy looks familiar, but I don't know.
You're thinking of David Arquette, and that's not.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of like weird small time actors, I would say, in this movie.
I made a note of that actually. John Cho. So kind of jumping forward, so they see this meteor, they go back, they evaluate all these samples that they take from it, and then they end up taking the whole class back to go look at it again. And one of the students is John Cho, which is Harold from Harold and Kumar.
Yep, I caught that too. I wrote that down. He's only shown for like 2 seconds, just looking around the cave or whatever. Yeah, it's
just like you start to realize like how much like a lot of these people start out as like small little extras and then they just become something out of nowhere. Well, it takes one big movie to just like, oh yeah, you're a thing now.
Yeah, this movie was just full of those moments of like, hey, I know that guy.
Yeah,
I know that girl.
Like I said, yeah, there are a lot of small cameos in there. When he's looking at the first sample they take and he's like, oh my god, 10 base pairs. It's 10 base, like saying it like everybody at the movie theater should already know what that means before he explains it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what that means, and then he explains it to Harry while at the game or whatever, at the volleyball game. But it's like, no one knows what you're talking about.
It's 10 base pairs, Harry.
It's 10 base pairs, obviously.
He's like, humans or organisms on Earth have no more than 4?
Yeah, it's no more than 4.
I think it was something like that, yeah.
I wrote down during that scene, too, when he sees everything splitting, going crazy, I was like, that's not amazing, that's scary. You shouldn't just be like, oh, wow, cool, neato.
Well, like, it shatters the glass, and then
he's just like, this is super cool. Let's not use any kind of protection when we go back down there.
Right.
Obviously not. I mean,
they use nothing. They use gloves. He's like, wear your protective gloves. No breather masks. No nothing, so their skin doesn't get touched. They just go down there with like work gloves, not even like anything scientific, and with a class. And they're just like, hey, let's go grab a bunch of samples from this thing.
And of course, Harry kind of, they established pretty early on that he's a quote unquote geologist, but is kind of an idiot.
Yeah.
But for some reason has this fascination with Division 1 women's volleyball.
No, Division 3.
Division 3.
Oh, is it Division 3? Okay.
Division 3 women's volleyball. Yeah, because he's the coach. Yeah.
So yeah, we have Ira busted into the volleyball game. It's 10 base pairs, and he's just coaching these women. I just thought that was kind of a funny little character quirk for him they put there.
Right. And then pretty predictable, the government comes, obviously.
Of course.
You need the government there. Then you meet Julianne Moore's character, Dr.
It was Dr. Reed. I didn't make a note of the first name, but
yep. And this was kind of where the same thing with the king, where I didn't understand the lisp on that priest. Why was she clumsy?
So I looked that up. That was actually just her interpretation of the character. She wanted to make her klutzy, and I was like, you overdid it, because there was no association to anything else within it going forward. She's just randomly slamming into things.
That was my takeaway too, because I was like, okay, we're setting it up. She's a clumsy scientist. This is obviously a humorous show. She's going to do something clumsy that breaks something or does something really bad, and you never got that payoff. It was always just her tripping or falling or just dropping her papers, and like, dang it, like, where's the payoff of the clumsiness?
I did want to jump back a little bit, because like you see it, because Sean William Scott is the one like starts to see the evolution first, because he's working at the golf course / pool area, and he sees all the worms kind of crawling out of the thing, and he grabs this big old thing of poison, and then he finds the thing in the water, just like kind of like lunge into his face, and he's just like, all right, whatever. And he just walks out with the poison, just doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything with it.
Well, I mean, it went back up the tube, so maybe I don't know. What would you do if you saw a weird beaver creature fly back into a tube?
Well, in the pool. And yeah, that's when they kind of jump back to the dig site, if you would, and then they identify who What was the main guy's name again? He keeps on escaping me.
Ira?
Ira, yeah. Ira, and then the guy just starts freaking out. And then at first I didn't realize the connection, and then they start explaining why Ira used to be with the government and got kicked out. It's like, oh, because he gave him that crazy disease. So he's pissed about it still.
The Kane madness.
The Kane madness, yeah, because he gave them all a vaccine for anthrax.
Yeah, it was for anthrax.
An untested vaccine for anthrax that gave him crazy madness.
Well, that and erectile dysfunction, diarrhea.
Yeah,
they were just going through this.
It was a crazy, but I mean,
side effects.
Not that different than medications that have gone through testing.
Partial paralysis, blindness.
Ironically enough, from my factoids, 2001 was when the anthrax attacks began in the U.S.
Oh, weird.
I remember that. Yeah, the mail-in anthrax attacks. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That was big news that year.
Yeah, so then they introduced the doctor, and again, she's just kind of a klutz out of nowhere. And then they end up in court, and I had a note on this. I was like, so they go into court to fight about hey, this was our dig site first. Why don't we get for it? Why is something like that? One, how did they expedite the process so quickly for them to be in court right away? And two, such a low-level court where there's nobody there and it's just some random judge in Arizona.
I think it was just there for the bit. I don't know that.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Device,
again, it's my brain. I'm okay, I get it. It's a movie, but this is 2 months would have passed.
Right, and they're only. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I want to give a special shout out. The country club manager, fantastic side character. And because I remember from so many movies, he always plays that just kind of rich, uppity a-hole. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to his character in this one, which again, playing this rich, uppity a-hole, just totally ragging on Sean William Scott.
Yeah, I thought I recognized him, but I didn't really know who he was.
I can't think of a specific movie he's in, but I know whenever I see him on screen, he's always
like
that
we were
same
saying
character.
earlier. There's so many people in this movie where you're like, I think I'd seen that guy before. Like the one guy who's right underneath the general in the army research is Ty Burrell from Modern Family.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I made a note of that. Hey, the guy from Modern Family.
Yeah. So I mean, there was just Sarah Silverman's in there for a 5-minute little insert for no reason.
Yeah,
basically.
That was point. Yeah, we're a little ahead, but yeah, that is. Oh my gosh, I was
yeah,
I had notes of that.
Just kind of the spattering of actors.
Yeah.
So basically, after they lose in court, the government steals all their stuff because that's what the government does, obviously. And then they go and try to impersonate their way into the base camp. So we're talking about alien life and the government, and you're telling me they got far enough, even got past anything to just basically walk themselves into this base.
Yeah, I had notes for that too. What is this?
In the middle of the night? There's no way.
Yeah, they do make a big hubbub about the security, and then you're sneaking in there. Oh, looks like the guards were asleep.
They just walk in from nowhere, cut some barbed wire, which isn't even a fence they put up. They just put up rounded barbed wire, and they just walk right in.
But of course, this is when we learn Ira was actually a colonel in the military previously. His character, I should say. Yep,
a colonel in the military. Yep. And then they go down, try to take whatever you want to say, some more samples after their samples get stolen. And Harry gets attacked by a crazy mosquito thing.
That opens up a suit. So I have this written down. It's that scene for me in this movie, even when I was younger, when I first saw it, has lived in my head as just a hilarious start to a scene. Because the mosquito gets into his suit and he's flying around. He's like, oh my God, turn up your oxygen. That'll kill it. So he turns up the oxygen. He's like, I think he's dead. And he just goes cross-eyed. He's like, he's in me.
Yeah.
So
just starts screaming. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they start rushing him to the hospital. And I love it. It's like, my God, we might have to amputate the leg. He's like, no, not the leg. And he's like, he thinks he's some type of athlete. You can't take his leg away. And he's like, my God, it's working its way back up to his testicles. Take the leg. Take the leg.
Yep.
It's I don't need it. And then I went on a whole thing of how they flip him over and he's just all right, well, it's going back down. Maybe we'll get it rectally. Grab the loop. No time for loop. There's always time for loop.
Yeah, that scene had me laughing too. It's just hilarious. That's the early 2000s humor is just
there's no way to describe it other than just potty humor. Just early 2000s potty humor.
I wrote that too. Toilet humor.
Yeah,
raunchy comedies where they were the thing back those days.
Yeah, I had a huge note on that. It's I miss thousands humor. Things were just blanket funny, and then it gets all dead, all done, and he's talking to the doctor. Can I get you anything? He's like, some ice cream. She's like, what flavor? He's like, doesn't matter. It's for my sphincter.
Yeah.
I did love that scene.
Oh my gosh.
Yep,
But I
and
think a
you-
little look back here. We kind of glanced over the commander, but for those of you who
Oh,
don't know, the commander Ted Levine was also Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. Kind of a very different character shift.
Yeah.
that was the
Oh.
same guy.
That was the same guy. That was Buffalo Bill. It puts a lotion on its skin,
Yeah.
and you know the rest.
Make him a little older and give him a mustache, and you don't recognize him whatsoever. Holy
Yeah.
buckets.
Well,
Yeah, I
this would have been, I think
recognize him at
Silence of the
all.
Lambs was early 90s, wasn't it? So it's only would have
Mhm.
been about a decade later.
Yeah, completely
then-
different characters.
So
Absolutely.
we get done at the hospital, and then I'll let Casey jump into it. Says this is one of your favorite actors from the movie with him on the golf course.
The hospital. We
So they
talking
leave
about
the
now?
hospital, and then they jumps to Sean William Scott serving drinks at the golf course.
Yep, serving Mai Tais at the golf course to the
Yep.
rich guy.
To the rich
Yes,
guy, yeah.
yes.
And then what happens with the rich guy?
Oh yeah. So yeah, the rich guy, right? Mr. What is the actor's name again? It
Give him
is
credit.
Gregory Itzin. So he's out there, ready for a very romantic date with what I assume is some single woman from the country club. So he gets a champagne and blanket set out, spills champagne all over his pants, and he's got the full get up, the golf manager, fancy pants, fancy sport coat.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to rinse his pants off and proceeds to get dragged off by, I guess, what can only be described as a reptile dog. I don't know how else to describe this thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like I know that they've described it in actual science where there's like an alligator that had long legs that could run fast. So like something terrifying.
But
Mhm.
what I love
Definitely.
about it, right, is that it's that the a-hole gets it trope. Like nobody feels sorry for the guy. He was just an a-hole to everybody.
Right, and actually one of the few people where they actually show dying. There's
Yeah,
not
that's
a
right.
lot. There's not a lot
No.
of death in this movie, and he's one that's like, yep, he's gone.
Mm-hmm. And then they show Sean William Scott inside because the lady sees this. She screams running back inside. Something killed him. And he's just sitting there going, oh, God, no way.
Yeah, she runs back and screams, "Something ate like Barry Whitmore, I think it was his name or
Barry
something like that." And it was,
Cartwright.
huh?
Something ate Barry Cartwright.
Which is just
Yeah.
like
I love this.
it's
Yeah, I
weird,
love she
yeah.
said his full name. It's just that kind of like
Not something ate
oddball. I
Barry.
assume Ivan Reitman
Somebody
humor.
ate, yeah, somebody ate Barry Cartwright. Like I don't think we needed the whole name. You could have just said Barry. I'm sure people knew who
Yeah.
he was.
Sean.
Very
Oh,
Cartwright.
that's too bad.
And this is where I made a note because things start getting out of the cave.
Yeah.
I made a couple of notes. One note was I really appreciated the special effects of making more than just one type of alien that was evolving. Like they had
Oh,
a
yeah.
whole slew of them in the cave, and then they just like kept going, making grander and grander creatures, and I thought that was very well done, honestly. Usually you see like one or two, they basically look the same.
Yeah.
Which makes you think, right, that like this could have really worked as a dark sci-fi. I could see this script going the
Yeah,
other
I
way
agree
pretty
100%.
I
And then the other thing I wrote on that was, in the case where the stuff starts getting out of the cave, they were like way against the government. This is where you need the government's help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
right.
the whole movie was like, we don't like the government. Those guys are like jerks. But at this point, when stuff starts getting out of the cave and eating people, you need the government on your side to do something, at least help rein it in.
Yeah, it was one of those things where you're like you couldn't really support them to a point, It was like, you actually need these guys. You could probably work with them.
Yeah, they're bad guys, but you need them. Like you need the you need the manpower here.
Mhm.
Part of all the different designs you guys were talking about for them. I got stuck down a rabbit hole. There's actually a video where they go behind the scenes and they talk about like the creations of everything, and they talk about that. Like, yeah, it's not like it's like Jurassic Park-esque where it's like, well, I can't just have one dinosaur. Like we got to have different variations. And they talk through like the centipede and like they actually did like some deep research on like, okay, how does a centipede walk? And then they tried to like replicate that a little bit for the one thing that walks forwards and backwards. And he's like, so we got the base down, and after that, we're just making it up because it's aliens at that point anyway. But so like the Venus flytrap, what that was in there that eats things, and then the big
Yeah.
brain thing.
Yeah, where he's like, that thing just got eaten by that tree.
Yeah. And that's where we kind of glanced over it a little bit when we talked about like the humor aspects. They see the big thing that's like a huge brain thing and it's walking away and it's got like kind of like a butt to the back of its head and they don't realize that their microphones are on and they're just making fun of the doctor the entire time and they don't realize that she can hear them.
Yeah, talking about Dr. Reed, yeah.
Yeah, she was a humorless ice queen in need of a good you know what.
Yep. Yeah, and then it kind of jumps forward into like more of just like the evolution. Sean William Scott brings the reptile alligator thing, and they look at that, and then it jumps to one of the suburbs, and it shows that little green thing in the closet. That's like a dog, is what they're calling it.
Yeah, she calls it a dog right away. It's like,
Yep.
This lady's never seen a dog in her whole life.
Yeah,
Is this like a dog? What is that?
One other lady's like, maybe a muskrat or a pig, and it's like, have you guys ever seen an animal?
Yeah.
Like ever?
That animal and that alien in specific, that in my head was like, okay, I can see like the Ghostbusters connection, because that felt like kind of a Ghostbuster looking thing to me.
Well, it kind of looked like Slimer, I guess.
Yeah.
Bit.
And then she's like trying to play nice with it, and then basically Rooster Head comes out as the tongue and bites her in the hand. It's like that.
Yeah. I saw it as kind of like an anglerfish, like the
Oh, yep.
the
Lure you in.
the sweet looking thing lures you in, and then the actual thing bites you from inside or whatever. Is kind of how I saw that one.
That, or it made me think of the alien from Aliens, where they have like the tongue can actually bite kind of thing.
Now there you go.
Yeah,
There'd be an odd looking xenomorph.
Right.
Yeah, and then the one lady who, like, I think you see her as like the homeowner, actually goes and gets a gun. And is like, yeah, do that. Don't look at this thing and try to pet it. But she has a gun in her kitchen.
That's what I had a note on that. Like, way to have a gun in the junk drawer.
She's got a revolver in the junk drawer.
This is Arizona, man.
I guess it's Arizona, but yeah, I was like, yes, do that. You see a weird creature inside your house, a bunch of leeches. Don't just pet it.
Yeah.
Protect yourself. Grab a knife or something.
Yeah. And then it just chokes to death.
Yep. Which they find out, the stuff can't live without the atmosphere of the cave. They can't breathe in oxygen. Which then they go to the back of the house and they see dragons, literal basic dragons.
Yeah, the bunch of dragon corpses back there.
But they call it bird things, I think is what they call it.
They kept calling it a bird. Like, I guess, but you see like a reptile flying in the air, you don't call it a dragon? I mean,
yeah, right. Kind of. Yeah. You got to remain scientific, I guess.
They kept calling it like a 7-foot bird. So then then one of those birds spits out a huge loogie, is what they call it, and then you get that's where like I wrote down, like, you get a lot of these weird jokes, like, oh yeah, that was a loogie, like just like out of place. And then Orlando Jones is like, Harry was like, Mazel Tov, it's a boy. It was like, what were they like riffing?
Yeah.
Were they like riffing lines, and then they were like, that was the best line we could come up with?
Probably.
I got the impression throughout this movie of that, actually, where it was kind of like maybe these actors were in between bigger projects and they just wanted to have some fun on film.
Mm-hmm.
And Ivan was like, hey, just do some riffing there.
Yeah.
What can you come up with?
Yeah, because as they walk over that cliff and see all the dragons, Orlando Jones says something like, great ooga mooga, or
Great
something like that.
So yeah, I had to make a note. I made a mental note to myself, like,
gotta be
what?
riffing or something. I don't know.
Great Googa Mooga.
Right, Googa Mooga. I'm like, what? Why?
Yeah,
You
so
couldn't come up with anything better?
that's what it felt like. It kind of felt like the director was like, hey, we're going to do, this is how the scene's going to go, because it's all CGI. Just riff some lines and we'll pick which one we like the best, which is still weird.
I'd be interested to look up too, right? Like how late in the project that he came on. Like, he
Right.
didn't start filming as
To
the dark
change it from
sci-fi,
dark to,
Right.
yeah.
and then he kind of had to hurry production. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
so-
some of the parts of the movie definitely felt rushed, in my opinion.
Yeah, the little loogie that it throws up actually turns out to be an egg, if you will, or like I guess a sack of some kind. Yeah, and it's like, oh, it's air breathing, and it just takes off to the mall.
Yeah, it just takes off. Yeah.
And then
This is where we kind of see that quote unquote rapid evolution on display.
Yeah, because it goes from small to humongous in like a second.
Which they did not cover.
No, they didn't.
I'm like,
it
they were
was like
covering
a
everything
small
else,
little
but-
thing. Yeah, it was a small little thing, and then all of a sudden it was like 7 feet tall and with a huge wingspan. So
It's like animation continuity, people, please.
yeah, goes to the mall. You get that? There's actually a lady from Friends. If people watch Friends, where it crashes through the window. She was like having her husband try on shirts. She was in a couple episodes of Friends as like a nurse. I just clocked that because I just clocked that because it's like just a weird, like, hey, that lady is from other things.
yeah, I seen her and I couldn't remember where I saw her from.
Yeah, then it crashes into that department store. You get for some reason they show a lady stealing and then the thing taking her.
But it knocks on the door like 4 times first.
Yeah, it's like banging on the door. Like, why would it do that?
Mm-hmm.
And then they load up shotguns, which don't have any kind of lock on them whatsoever. I guess that's kind of the times back then.
Well, like, so
in 2001, yeah, right, probably.
They roll into the mall. Half the parking lot is like screaming and leaving, but when they get inside the mall, it's just full of everybody and nobody knows any different what's going on.
Yeah. So it takes that lady, and then you get like the scene that a lot of people remember where he's doing the bird calls that are just terrible. Like,
yeah,
like
I think we've established that caca and tookie do not work.
Yeah, that was his call nod to George of the Jungle, apparently.
George of the Jungle, really?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
I do not remember
Tookie.
George of the Jungle enough to remember.
I think it's the one with Brendan Fraser, though.
Yeah, I know it's Brendan Fraser. I just don't remember anything about it besides Brendan Fraser.
I may have watched that movie once.
Like like hits trees all the time as he's swinging. Yeah, that's about all I remember.
But yeah, this is kind of that moment, right, where they you could say it's the reveal kind of to the wider population where people realize like, hey, something's going down here.
Yeah.
And I believe this is when the governor also rolls into town and wants to know what the heck's going on.
Yep, he rolls into town after them all. And to get the dragon to come to them, he sings "You Are So Beautiful," which I thought was also really weird, a song to be singing.
Again, it was that kind of up and down with the humor. You just wonder, like,
well, that is the
same people writing all throughout this thing?
Right? And then they save that girl, and Ira shoots the thing a couple times in the back and it falls. And they all just kind of sit there and they're like, yeah. I wrote down, go pump 6 more shots in it. You have a giant dragon alien and you shot it like twice with, I can only imagine is like bird shot. Go shoot it more. Don't stop. And then, I mean, they do because it like wakes up for a second, but it's like, and then they go hit it again.
Yeah. And then they all rack their guns in unison with one hand.
I was gonna say this is kind of like this is that lead up to their action moment. The synchronized cocking of the shotguns,
which is also weird because they never bring the shotguns with them.
They just leave them behind.
Because after that they do the scene in the car where they're singing "Play That Funky Music."
Yep.
And they don't have the shotguns, and they never bring out the shotguns ever again.
And Dunkel, you said that was an homage to Orlando himself, who would do that going up to the set every day.
He said that he'd roll up to the set, and that's the song he had playing in his car a lot. So I was just like, they went with it.
It makes sense now because, like, when I look at that scene, I'm like, it's a little out of place, but
yeah. Well, on top of that,
I guess they wanted to get that in.
The only one putting in effort is Orlando, and then a little bit of the guy that plays Ivan. If you look at Sean William Scott in the background, he doesn't know the song. He's just sitting there going, "Yeah, man, that's nice."
He just looks like an idiot nodding his head.
He's just nodding his
That's
head
all
like
I can
crazy.
think to myself.
It's like he doesn't know what's going on here.
Yeah. So then this is after the mall, Dan Akroyd rolls up, and they're trying to come up with a thing. He's like, they're attacking. He's like, Dr. Reed's like, in 2 weeks or 1 month, it'll take Arizona. In what was it, like a month or something? It would take the entire United States.
Yeah, and I actually like took a moment to snip that. I was like, if you watch the red lines, it literally stops at like the U.S. border everywhere except for a little bit in Mexico, but it leaves like the whole like West Coast, and like it literally just like the U.S. will be gone, and that's all we're concerned about.
Yeah, so they do that, and it's the typical, should we blow things up? Should we not blow things up? And then those three just, how did they get on base? How did they get on base? How did they get on base again? They bust into the base again, and they're like, we just took this thing down. How did they get on base again? They were told by the government, they were told by the courts to stay away. Right. You can't tell me they're not on some kind of list that says, don't come in here. Don't let these 3 guys in here with their Jeep.
They're still sneaking into the same hole. They gotta be.
So it's like, I don't know how they got in there. And then we see what is probably the most terrifying is the apes that evolved, the white-haired, like
noseless,
noseless hominids, I guess you'd call them, or
those fuzzy no-nose chimps.
But that are smart enough to break all the cameras, so they learn what a camera is very quickly somehow. And learned how to operate the elevator as a distraction to bust through the floor a different direction. So like they became unbelievably sentient. I mean, I know that everything was evolving fast, but like that's way
people
fast.
With claws and bones.
Even if you became the smartest thing in the world, how would you know what a camera is unless you were taught what a camera? We can't just figure it out.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that scene was definitely you had to have a suspension of disbelief to really follow that scene much.
Yeah, and like a funny fight ensues where like Ira tries to punch it and it's way stronger than him, so it hurts his hand. And then Harry tries to jump on it, and then Sean William Scott's character, shoots it finally. But
I did want to make a note though. Dan Akroyd's character absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
that kind of fast talking
for the little bit that
governor.
he was in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speak to me plainly here. What's going on?
The fast talking bureaucrat. Yeah, loved it. That was a good character for him to play.
He always nails those fast talking kind of slick characters so well. I just enjoyed the heck out of it.
And then the decision is made after that because everyone gets scared of the hominids that they are going to napalm everything.
Yeah, that's right.
And they tell them, I don't know if that's a good idea. And they go back to their own lab, if you will. And they're sitting there, we can't figure it out. And then Orlando Jones just takes a match and just tosses it into the pile of the goop.
That stays lit flying through a room.
Yeah. Yeah. On top of that, like, what was his thought process? Like, I'm just going to whip this at the pile of stuff that we're looking at.
I actually stopped
so hard to get back.
I actually stopped taking notes basically after the napalm, which, I mean, there wasn't that much movie left, but I was like, I'm just going to enjoy the ride now because there's too many plot holes now.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
I was just like, I have to enjoy this ride for what it is, and I have to stop fight. Because, like, they say they're going to do napalm. Never test the napalm on something to see if it'll burn. They were the science core of the Pentagon. You're telling me that not one person was like, let's test this napalm first.
Let's make sure it's not going to do anything.
Nope, we're not going to do it. And then that's why I was like, I just got to enjoy the ride. Like
for those
it's a fun ride. It's a fun ride. It's been a fun ride. I got to stop pointing holes because this is just it's getting too ridiculous at this point.
You'll be doing it all day.
Yeah.
The spoiler alert is you put fire on it and it gets aggressively more evolved.
Yeah, like super. What is it? How they use a certain term? I can't remember what it was. It's like cataclysmic evolution or something.
Catalyst. It catalyzed the evolution.
Yep.
Something like that.
And then they're sitting there, and then the doctor, I had a note on this, she just happened to be wearing a shirt of the periodic table, and then somehow he makes the connection of like, well, we're here, and like a couple over is here, so like if we do this, which turns out to be selenium. And then the two guys that got C- in the beginning, like, oh, we can get plenty of that. What?
Like,
yeah,
what?
Head and shoulders, man. Like, haven't you noticed how good my hair is?
Yep,
like,
selenium sulfide in the head and shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how do you two idiots know that is in the shampoo?
You guys don't know anything.
Yeah,
don't you see our hair? Yeah. Don't you see how shiny and flake free it is?
I always think of the one guy as he was in Remember the Titans as one of the linemen in it.
I think it's Ethan Suplee, right? Is the one you're thinking of?
Yeah, the blonded. Yeah, I guess they're both kind of blonde. Yeah, the bigger one.
Going back a little bit before they make that discovery, they see those guys drinking in like the community college yard with a bunch of people who are also drinking, saying, "Oh, Arizona's going to be toast," blah blah blah. So, but if they knew that napalm was the plan, all those people have just accepted being burned alive.
Pretty much, I guess.
I mean,
like they were
evacuating out of town.
They were evacuating the entire city. Like they were evacuating everybody, and the college kids were just accepting their fate. Basically, it was just crazy. That's why I stopped. I stopped writing notes because it's just.
Yeah, I think it felt to me like the filmmakers just wanted to have their like crazy end of the world party scene. You know, like in your Independence Day and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, we gotta have that scene where people are celebrating or accepting and yada, yada, yada. Right. But again, it's like, it's just happening in the city, dude. You could just hop in a car and drive out.
And then, so from there, they figured out that, okay, Head and Shoulders is the way to go. And then Sean William Sack goes, I have the perfect vehicle. And they roll up in a fire truck. And I'm like, how did you get a fire truck? He failed the training, so he didn't have access to anything. He just ripped a fire truck out of nowhere.
I think you were supposed to just figure that they evacuated the firemen too, so he just had access to go in there and take something, whatever you wanted.
That was a mental plot hole for me.
Yeah, anarchy at the end, basically.
Yeah.
And in case it wasn't obvious, they go buy hundreds of bottles of Head and Shoulders and load up the fire hose with it.
Yeah, I wonder if you could actually load up a truck with just a funnel. I thought that was weird.
I mean, you probably could. I'm sure you could.
I feel like those are more pressurized than that, and they need.
It was an older one.
Yeah, I guess.
Again, the plot is Swiss cheese. I think we kind of have to accept that at this point.
Yeah, but 500 gallons of Head and Shoulders, I mean, that you've got to be talking about like thousands of bottles, right?
Yeah. So then they're driving up, and then they watch them blow up the napalm. And And I had a note on there. I was like, why is everybody standing so close to this explosion? Because I felt like when the napalm goes off, it's just everybody standing super duper close. But they're down in the caves at that point in time where the monkeys were, if you will, or the ape guys were. Those guys were right next to the entrance, and that's where they had napalm. So I was like, that was a massive explosion. Like that whole area blows up, and they're down there like a little fire's going on. They're like, oh, we should probably get out of here.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but they said like, hey, we're going to do it at noon. But
Yeah, but
everyone
then
was already
they ended
evacuated.
up
They
going
could
early.
see.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, hey, let's just go early. So they weren't
Everybody's
actually
in-
expecting that.
Everybody was
Mhm.
in place. Yeah, so then they blow up the napalm, and then you get that extreme catalyst evolution, and it turns into just a big blob, basically, which I think it was supposed to be kind of like a giant amoeba. Because it
Yeah, like a
started
reset.
Because it started mitosis or
Well, I
whatever.
think-
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was actually a reference because I don't know if you remember, right? But when he was looking at it under the microscope,
Yeah, it looked the same as
it
that.
looked like
yeah.
a little starfish or something. So this
Yeah.
is kind of like a mega version of that.
Well, and the doctor brings it up too. She's like, they've started over. She said sometimes the most simplest forms are the strongest.
Yeah, so then my mind was like, okay, it's gonna split, then it's gonna split again. So you're talking about like it's just gonna turn into super giant things.
I think the
Right.
assumption
Yeah,
was,
right, is
they'll
that
just
the
continue
assumption?
that path, but now
So-
larger.
Then everybody on Earth would be done because that'd be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, come on, yeah, let's do evolution too. I want to see me some giants.
Oh, I haven't. Remind me that you said that because I have something that I didn't know existed. But they take the truck, they take the fire truck, the military's running away. They have it full of Head and Shoulders. They go underneath the thing trying to find some kind of orifice to be able to put like a mouth. I'm guessing is what they're more looking for, but they find more of a sphincter looking thing.
Yeah, and that's when Orlando Jones is like, I've got some payback to get.
Yep.
And as with most of the other humor in this film, as they're driving up, the thing does what we can only assume is a giant fart.
Yep. One big fart, and they're like, "Oh, nasty."
Yeah, I had a note for that. I was like, imagine the pink eye that everybody just got.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah. And
So they start pumping Head and Shoulders into it.
Yeah. And then it clenches, and then Orlando Jones gets sucked up into it.
Yep. Yelling the whole time. Oh my God.
You'll
never believe
it. Don't tell anyone where I've been.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone.
You wouldn't believe what I've seen.
Yeah. I don't know. Where like for him is just like a butt for a butt, basically. He's like, they climbed in my butt, I'm climbing in theirs.
Yep. So then they realize that it's working, and then it starts like bubbling. So they get out of there, and then like obviously plot holes, but like they talked about like arsenic killing us, which is just poison, so we just die. But this thing pumped full of Head and Shoulders and selenium explodes. It
Yeah.
doesn't just like collapse and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Poof out.
because I couldn't remember
Well, in
how
my mind,
it
it's
ended.
like you got a giant alien bug, basically. Of course, you're going to have the thing explode.
I mean, and I'm
You
guessing,
can't
that's the way it
seize
is
that
too. I
opportunity.
mean, it's like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man explosion.
I wonder if that's what he was thinking when he did it.
You could make a lot of parallels to Ghostbusters. I think he did Ghostbusters, and then it was like, yeah, I'm gonna do more Ghostbusters.
Big things explode. CGI.
Yeah, you kind of have the outro honorary scene where the governor starts announcing everyone and that they're heroes, and
But
of
a
course you
weird-
got Dr. Reed and Ira.
Yeah,
over
And
the
a
fire
weird
truck.
choice to have
Well-
them go to the fire. They're covered in Head and Shoulders, and what you can only imagine is like poop.
Yeah, but hang on, before I get that, they were like giving out their words, and like they're Orlando Jones, and like he decides to bring up the one of the best Division III volleyball coaches we've seen in a long time.
The most,
It's
yeah, the
like,
winningest
Yep.
Division
like
III
the volleyball coach thing is just so random. Like you're trying to maintain that this character has a backstory and he does other things, but also like just a weird time to bring it up. And then to what you guys just brought up too is just like they just sneak away to go bang in the fire truck, and then the guy just sneaks over and he's like, I think they're doing their own kind of thing, and they're just okay with it.
No, he says
he says knowing like, oh,
he says I think he's given her the Kane madness.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Is
right.
what he whispers into his ear, and I don't remember Dan Akroyd ever learning that, so he just took it, sexual innuendo. But they're like,
one of the only notes my wife had was in reference to that goo, because he had goo all over his face. It's like, ew, I wouldn't kiss him. He's got goo all over his face.
right?
Right.
She just kind of like wipes it off, and like, "Ugh, that's not good enough.
Oh, it's alien. Man.
Yeah, you got Head and Shoulders
Oh.
and poop all over you. Let's make out. Ugh.
But yeah, that brings the adventure to a wrap.
Yep, they do a weird Head and Shoulders plug at the end.
I was
Yeah,
digging,
with like
I was
they
digging
do
so
that
hard.
scene with the dragon thing flying over the Jeep.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
I know we always keep Head and Shoulders around the house.
Before we give our ratings out of 1507, I was reading, they actually made a cartoon shortly after this movie came out.
No
to
way,
like continue.
really?
It was called like Alienators, I believe is
Yeah,
what
I
it was
think that was
called.
in my
Alienators?
Alienators
my notes
Evolution Restarted or something like that.
Evolution Continues.
Evolution Continues.
That
I didn't
looks
look
like a
up
kid's
a
Saturday
lot
morning
about it.
Later
cartoon.
that year.
Yeah, I didn't look up a ton about it, but I was like, that's interesting that they tried to cartoon it. But I mean, they tried to cartoon Ghostbusters too, so maybe it was that Ivan guy just trying to push his stuff farther.
My things.
Yep.
God, what a weird thing. Just started an animated series.
They had a
Right
Game
after
Boy
this
game
movie.
for it too.
I mean, it's a good plot. Like, it's a very, very good plot. I think it would have done better as a horror.
Yeah, I think overall it's just the tone was all over the place. They try to shoe in so much of the humor.
Mhm.
I mean, and again, it was that early 2000s potty humor. I'm not saying it was bad necessarily, right? I mean, you enjoyed it back in the day.
Yeah,
Oh, and
no,
it had me laughing. I was laughing. I thought there was some funny stuff, but it's just, I don't know. The plot line would have been better as more serious.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
more
I mean, this
serious
could have
type of
been
thing.
And I just thought of this
easy,
too.
like-
Sorry to cut you off.
no, you're fine.
The logo with the third eye smiley face. There's no connection to it within the movie, but in the animated series, they actually have an alien buddy that looks just like the logo.
What gets me about this too is like you're making a kids show, even though it's like a PG-13, probably leaning more towards adult movie.
I guess.
Mhm.
Gotta
that's a
try to
choice.
rake in that cash.
Mhm.
But yeah.
So do we want to give it our ratings then?
Yeah, I'll go first. I gave it a 1350 out of 1507.
Whoa!
Once you get past the plot points, and like, I know plot points can make a lot, but once you just enjoy the ride, it is a good ride. Like, it really is it's a good fun romp through an alien filled world. I like it. So yeah, 13 out
That
of
is
50.
much higher praise than I ever expected from you.
Mhm.
Hey, there's a lot you can have plot holes and still have a enjoyable watch.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I would give
Dunkel,
it,
how about you?
I was 1375. It brought back so much great, like, Thousands humor was just simple, like a little bit of smutty, but like not too crazy over the top. The only one time that they made like a really weird joke was when Sean William Scott was asking Orlando Jones's character about himself as a volleyball coach, and he's like, "Do you ever like shower with him or anything?" He's like, "Oh yeah, all the time." It's like, what? So like that was a little weird. Definitely couldn't get away with that now. But other than that,
That whole
like,
diner scene is weird.
yeah. Like you said, Sarah Silverman, right?
Yep, Sarah Silverman.
She was
in there for
for
basically no reason. Yeah.
And he's just like, I want my t-shirts back. And then the cop leaves and he tells her to pay for dinner and that's it.
Yeah.
So it was weird to just throw her in there. But yeah, I loved it. It's funny. It's simple. As much as we give it grief for like they didn't think real deep on it, like it was nice to not think real deep on it.
Casey gave it a 1400. Just keep adding 25.
Well, I'm feeling much like the strict one here, but I'm going to give it a 1063 out of 1507.
That's your lowest rating yet, I think.
I believe All Dogs Go to Heaven was 1007, something like that.
That's hurtful.
I couldn't in good conscience put this below All Dogs Go to Heaven. The one thing I will say about it is, yeah, the humor can be a little bit grating at times, right?
Yeah.
The plot's all over the place, full of holes. But I would say if you want a sci-fi comedy romp, this is a good place to look.
It's interesting to think how much in 25 years it's changed what they're okay with just throwing in a movie. That was like a comedic trope.
Yeah.
This either would have been panned or kicked out.
Oh, it'd
or
be panned now.
Or...
They wouldn't play it at all. Probably it'd be like a straight to Netflix. It'd be like a Netflix original. It'd have to be probably.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall, that's not a bad average, I don't think.
No, I do the math for it, but
yeah, no, we don't need to do the math. It's fine.
Takes too long.
All right, so next time
folks.
Yeah, next week we're doing 1978,
And
going way back.
Are going to see a story about a man in the woods partaking in some high stakes gambling. So you have to tune in to find out what that is.
Yeah, catch us on the next one.
So thanks for joining us, and have a great week.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and do whatever the thing you're listening on does.
Yes, please give comments if you're listening to this podcast. If you have some feedback for us, let us know, and we'll read it.
Not going away. We're sticking around.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks, everybody.
Later.